Hello everyone and welcome to the first episode of the Chibicast. Now, I'm doing this flying off the seat of my pants, and if I trip with my mediocre English, you'll have to forgive me because I'm improvising the whole darn thing. So, every now and then I'm going to do videos like this one, I'm going to call them the Chibicast, as you can see. What will they be about? Well, I'm gonna teach you some things about working with the capsule chibi files, just talk crap about games and whatnot. I can do requests. If you have a request about me showing you something about the Patreon, about doing a character, the process, you name it, like put it up in the comments. I'll try to honor these requests as much as I can. Also, don't expect a lot of these videos because, well, I don't have that much time to record them. That doesn't mean I don't like it. I would love to have a lot of videos. Let me know if you like this little segue inside our Patreon. Now, today's topic. There's been talk, and by talk I mean comments, in the Patreon about how to do certain things like sports, resizing, and editing of the files. So I thought our first topic will be, hey, I got your files. How do I edit them a bit? Well, I got the answer. The answer to me, and the easiest one, is Mesh Mixer. Now, I'm going to bring my little browser here. What is Mesh Mixer? Mesh Mixer is a piece of software by Autodesk. It's free. You can download it completely without having to pay anything. For Windows and Mac OS, for whoever uses that. Ugh. Now, I do have Mesh Mixer installed. I'm going to open it and show you a couple of things you can do. Let's learn how this program works. Alright, so we have Mesh Mixer open here. It's a bit barren until you actually input something in the program. So we're going to import or open, in this case import, because that's how you get STL files into the program, one of our latest files. Let's import several. Let's import the Pumpkin. This was today's release. It'll take a little while, not too much, hopefully. There you go. Look at that little monster. So, as you know, our files are good enough for FDM printers, or the legendary SLA printers, the ones that use resin. But, well, for the ones that are printing in plastic, PLA, ABS, the works, it will be cool to have a little more freedom in how to edit this file, wouldn't it? Now, I cannot cater to everyone, and let's be honest, it's kind of difficult to make a version that works for every single printer. But what I can do is tell you how to do this, and it won't take you a lot of time. There are several files in our Patreon that are super hard to print. This is one of them because it's flying. And well, it doesn't have an obvious area of support like the other ones that are standing. And speaking of the figures that are standing, let's open somebody. Let's open the Boomslinger. You know that guy? The one that has a shotgun? Alright, we have two things open. Now, what can I do with Mesh Mixer? Well, first up, we have the object browser. This little window will appear whenever you have more than one file open. You can see I have the Pumpkin here and the Boomslinger. I can also hide them. I can also copy them with this little icon or delete them. Today we're going to do two things: size, rotation, and actually three things, sorry, and a little bit of editing. Alright, so what can I do? In the menu to your left, you'll find Mesh Mix. This one is used to combine two parts of a mesh. We're going to see just very simple steps here. Select, well, you can also do it over here. Sculpt, yeah, you can actually edit these files and sculpt them. Just a bit. Stamp, part of sculpt, we're not going to see it now. Edit, this one's important. Whenever you click on one of these options, you get a little menu that'll show you more little options. And analyze. By the way, nothing to do with this video because I actually do this before giving the files to you, but whenever you have troublesome files, try the analysis menu. It'll report broken faces, it'll close holes, it'll prepare files that... You know how the quality of 3D printable files varies across the net? Usually you get a really cool freebie that's impossible to be printed because, well, it's not quite there in the preparation for print quality. Well, you can fix it with the analysis menu. Last, we got shaders. This is just how you want the miniatures to appear. There you go. You want a golden color, there you go. Blue color, that's cool. I like the gray because I'm boring. Also, Mesh Mixer can be used to print directly from it and prepare your particular printer. But we're not going to do that now. Alright, so how can I move around Mesh Mixer? Right click on your mouse to rotate. Alt and right click, or the mouse wheel, to zoom in and zoom out. And by the way, if you're clicking on an object, it'll zoom in a little bit quicker. You can use the middle button of the mouse to pan around. And lastly, you can press W to get a wireframe and see if there are any suspect triangles over there. There you go. Now, first order of the day. I want to make one of my objects bigger. I mean, it's pretty cool that everything's already sized to my own scale, but hey, what if you want to make it bigger here and not in your slicer? Sometimes that's better. How can you do it? The edit menu has a little transform tool. Now, usually slicers have this, but there are many slicers and not all of them work the same way. Sometimes it's a good idea to just rotate things how we want them. Inside transform, you'll see, especially if you look here in size X, Y, and Z, that I can actually edit the size of things. Check it out. I can do it either manually or by numbers. I recommend by numbers. If I wanted the boom slinger to be more on the 40mm scale, I will just input 40mm here, and now it's up to scale. Two things here. Uniform scaling allows us, well, basically to scale it uniformly instead of doing some aberration like this. Snapping will also, well, snap to a grid. Or if I rotate, I can actually snap two angles. Notice that I can either rotate freely or move my mouse over to this dial and snap away. Alright, now let's do this on the Chibi holder. I have a question about how to print these more complicated objects that in the orientation they are right now, well, it's not going to be really well supported. The print bed will start going up, up, up. Oh my god. This is going to be a problem. Either we're going to have a lot of supports, or it's just not going to end well for a printer. What can I do? Well, in my opinion, it makes more sense to print from the back, because we have more support area, and the front will be basically free of supports, especially in FDM printers. I can do this. Of course, if I can do this in the slicer, it's all the same. But here I can say, you know what, rotate it 90 degrees and there it goes. So what's the problem? Well, there's no flat areas in the back. What if I actually don't really care to cut a little bit of the detail so as to have a little bit of a flat area to work with? That can be done. How do you do it? Well, in Edit, you'll find another tool called Plane Cut. Interesting, it has kind of a pause button. Plane Cut will actually bring in a plane, it's that little thing you see there, and I can adjust it at any height or any rotation. by clicking and dragging. I actually do not like to click and drag. I find it better to just use, by the way, I pressed S to cancel, escape. I find it better just to move it by hand with the gizmo. A gizmo is this little thing that I can move. And alright. So what will I do? I have two cut types here. Slice will allow you to keep both pieces. So if I cut here, I'll have one file for everything that's below this line and everything that's above. Right now I just want to discard a little bit of this. There you go. That'll give me two flat areas, and everything else I will have to use supports on, but I will have a solid start here that in the end I can actually patch with green stuff or something like that. There are several fill types. What has worked for me is remesh fill. I will discard it and accept. There you go. Check it out. We have flats now. I can re-export this and use it on a traditional 3D printer and minimize supports. I could also do something really brutal like this. There you go, check it out. I can actually slice this guy in half. By the way, when I do this, it's actually a better idea to say keep both. Now, well, I did say to cut and keep both, but it's in the same solid. That's because I still have to press something else that's called separate shells. What's going on here? Basically, it does have two parts, but they're just grouped in the same 3D model. Now they're separated like this. I can actually get to the work of transforming, rotating, and reorienting the part. And this is pretty cool because it allows you to make even gigantic versions of all the miniatures. By the way, this is also how you cut things that do not fit in your 3D printer. Pretty cool, right? Alright, let's learn how to combine files. I have here the boom slinger, the one we had on the previous part of the video, and I'm going to move it around, transform it with the tool we already knew, and get in the middle of this base. And by the way, where did I get this base? Well, press the Mesh Mix button. To use this function, you need to select an object, press Mesh Mix, and you can bring any solid you want. Of course, the one we want is a cylinder, and whenever you bring it into the world, you can actually say, you know what, I want a 25mm cylinder. This is height, 25, 25, 25, and Y. I'm going to input 3mm. That's a base. Right now I have a little bit of a bigger base. You can use whichever base you want. What will I do to actually make this a solid my 3D printer can understand and print? Well, I'm going to select both of them, and here's where it can be tricky. You must not click on combine. What does combine do? It groups things together, but it does not make it a solid. And we want a solid because 3D printers, well, they actually work better with solids. And why is that? Well, simple. In the real world, things like how do you call it? Like colliding two 3D shapes together in a way they overlap is not possible. This is only possible in the computer. And we're gonna bring this out to the real world. We call that non-manifold objects. In less complicated terms, they call it a watertight object. Basically, it's a solid. What will we do? We'll press Boolean Union. The program will take a little bit of time in refining everything and finding the best solution. Now that Mesh Mixer has finished, you'll notice it's highlighting in 2 colors the parts to be combined. We have options here, but the most important one is the solution between combining both parts. This will affect where the 2 parts collide, so I'm going to choose max quality because I really want those edges to be tight. Once it's done, I'm going to press accept. After some seconds, well, we got a solid. This piece is now 3D printable and you can actually export it in File Export. Something important, you will be offered 2 STL options, STL ASCII and binary. Which is the correct one? To tell you the truth, I think the correct one will always be binary. Why? It's the same thing as when you have an image as a bitmap which has no compression, or as a JPG file that actually has some compression and it's not as heavy in your computer and, well, with your slicer. Choose binary. That will give you the best results. And well, this is just one of the many things you can do with Mesh Mixer with the capsule chibi files. If you got any requests or other things you would like me to cover in the next Chibicast, fire away in the comments. Next time, we will see advanced supports. What happens when the traditional supports in your 3D printer just won't cut it? What can you do? Well, you will know very, very soon. Until then, take care everyone.
3D printer.